find out what poor people read and don't read it.
And I hit send on that email, not sure if I just made a giant mistake.
Because there's a big difference between what people say and what people do.
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and every morning I bring you a shot of Entspresso to help you believe in yourself more and start your day with confidence. So good morning, grab your coffee, I believe in you, and let's do this. Over to you, Tony Robbins.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso, keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
My very first teacher was a man named Jim Rohn, and he was a personal development speaker. And he had this 3.5-hour seminar he would do that I went to when I was 17 years old. I was already reading books. I was obsessed with wanting answers. I want to know what makes the difference in the quality of people's lives. Not because I was intellectually interested, but because I grew up in a really tough environment. I had 4 different fathers. There was a lot of, my mom was a great human being who loved me dearly, but she, abused both alcohol and prescription drugs, so she was very physically abusive. And I was, believe it or not, 5'1" in high school. I was a little guy, so I got the beat out of me pretty regularly for things that I didn't do anything to do with. And so it made me try to figure out what made her work, what makes life work. It made me more of a practical psychologist. And the modeling concept came because Jim Rohn used to have this phrase. He said, success leaves clues. He said, if there's anything you want in your life, don't assume that somebody has some special gift. They may have a gift, but they probably developed it, most of it. And if you sow the same seeds, you'll reap the same reward. So figure out what this person's doing different than anyone else and do that. He used to have a funny way of describing it. He used to say, Tony, find out what poor people read and don't read it. It's like, because he said, that's the fabric they're trying to build their mind from. Find out somebody who's successful, wealthy, not just financially wealthy, but somebody who's rich emotionally and spiritually and physically and financially, and find out how do they live their life differently? What are the things they believe? What are some of the daily disciplines that they're a part of? And so really early on, I got obsessive about wanting to have all the answers. So I said, I'm gonna read a book a day. Because I figured, a person takes 10, 15 years of their life, they pour 2 or 3, 4 years into this book, and you absorb in a few hours, literally a decade's worth of life experience. And I'm into compressing time. So I didn't read a book a day, but I read 700 books in the area of human development, psychology, physiology, all in my first real 7 years of reading, right, my youth. In high school, I was Mr. Solution. You have a problem, I have the solution. Especially if you're a girl, I was especially motivated. I could really help you with your boyfriend.
Whatever problem you're trying to solve, somebody has already figured it out. If you can apply this thinking to whatever problem is in front of you right now, your entire life will change. Your business, your life will dramatically shift when you recognize that you don't have to come up with all of the genius ideas yourself. When I was struggling in my first business, this was my problem. I was afraid to ask for help. I thought I had to come up with every idea myself, and nothing that I seemed to do worked. Nothing worked. Every idea I came up with, just nothing worked. And my business wasn't growing, and I hated my life. I was not quite depressed, but getting close to that. I felt worthless. I felt like a loser, because it's really hard when you come up with an idea that you think is great and then you start doing it and then it doesn't work. It's hard not to take that personally. It's hard to, especially at the beginning when you don't have any wins under your belt, go from my ideas didn't work, but that's okay, I'm still great, right? You internalize it to feel like my ideas didn't work, therefore I'm not working. My ideas suck, therefore I suck. That was what was the record kind of going on in my head, because I was making no money, making $300 a month. Nothing's working out. I'm trying to come up with new ideas, and I believe in a new idea, and then I try to apply it, and guess what? It doesn't work out. Great, another idea that doesn't work out. Another one that's not working out. Another one that's not working out. And it took its toll on me to the point where I felt like Evan Carmichael is just a loser. And the thing that changed it all for me was when I quit on my business partner. I was 20 years old. I quit on my business partner because I was just tired of things not working out. I needed to feel like where I was spending my energy, my time, my effort was gonna lead to something. And so I quit. I said, I quit, I'm done. I can't handle this anymore. And it was the worst day of my life. I woke up the next day and I said, you know what, I can't quit yet because I didn't want to live with regret. I got into this business because I didn't want to live with regret, because I didn't want to go take some job and then look back on my life and realize if I just tried a little bit more, if I just went another day, what might happen? And so I didn't want to live with regret. But I knew I couldn't keep doing the things I was doing because it wasn't working, right? I mean, I can't just keep eating the same bean salad for lunch every day. I can't keep waking up and working. I woke up, I went to my business partner's condo, sat at his dining room table and worked the whole day and then went back home, right? Every single day, had no friends, had no life. I was working my face off and getting no results. And I knew I couldn't just keep going this way. That's when the magic question came to me, finally, and I want this to come to you a little sooner, but it came to me to say, hey, somebody else has done this, right? I'm not the first person to have done this before. I just need to figure out who's done this and how I can model their success. And I came up with Bill Gates, who started Microsoft, and I looked at how did he start Microsoft, right? Not how does he make an extra $1 million now, right? Hey, Nina, we love you. How does Bill Gates make an extra $1 million right now? Who cares? Doesn't matter, right? But 0 to 1, how did he go from 0 to 1? That's what I needed to do. I researched his company, and he did 2 partnerships so that Microsoft sold software, I sold software, and he partnered with different companies that had hardware because you need software and hardware to work together. And so every hardware that was shipped had his software on it. And their big deal came with IBM, which was the biggest computer company at the time. And he made a deal that every IBM shipped had Microsoft software on it. Like, wow, and that's what blew up the company. But Microsoft was already a $7 million company when that deal happened. Not a giant company, but still, it was 7 million more than what I had at the time, right? So how did he go from 0 to 7 in order to make that partnership deal? Well, the answer is still partnerships. His very first deal was with MITS. They had the MITS Altair, a company that doesn't even exist anymore. But they had made a deal with the MITS Altair that the MITS had their first device out called the Altair, and Bill Gates created the software for it. And so it was partnerships. Partnerships was their big deal, and partnerships was the thing that got them started and off the ground. Partnerships, partnerships, partnerships. So I looked at my own company at the time and said, I'm not doing any partnerships, so what would that look like? Who could I partner with? And I started by looking at who could sell our software in foreign markets that we didn't know how to sell to. And I made a deal with a company out of the UK. And I basically just reached out to a whole bunch of companies. And one of the companies in the UK wrote back to me to say, hey, we'd love to represent your software in the UK market. And I said, okay, we can do that, but let's do it as an exclusive deal. We got 2 options. I didn't even know what I was doing at the time, right? Just trying to make some money and close my first partnership. So I said we could do 2 options. We can either do it at, you get 30% of everything sold, and it's non-exclusive, so we can partner with other people in the UK, or you can get 40% of everything that's sold, higher commission, right? It's called the margin to motivate. What's the margin you have to give somebody to motivate them to sell it? Give you 40%, and you'll be exclusive. So anything that comes out of the UK has to come to you first. And we'll do it for, I forget what the term was, 2 years or something. But to do that, to make that deal happen, you have to pay $13,500 up front as an order, right? That as you make sales, we get that money back over time, but that would be the cost up front. And I hit send on that email, not sure if I just made a giant mistake, because I was struggling to make any sales. I'm making $300 a month at that time. And they wrote back and they said, let's do it. And I had my first deposit for $13,500. And that was amazing. And I finally was making some kind of money. And again, looking back, it doesn't feel like a ton of money, but when you're making $300 a month and you feel like there's no momentum and you've got like nothing is happening, nothing is going right, that was huge. That was life-changing. And more important than just the money was I had a strategy I could use again and again and again. We started signing up other dealers to be able to represent us, other partnerships. And that's what helped the company start to take off. And so it was all because I modeled success. It was all because I said, who has done this before? Somebody has done this. Who has it? The only person I could think of in software was Bill Gates at the time. So it wasn't like I did a whole ton of research, but the important part was looking at how did he get started and applying those lessons to my business. It's still something I do today. Whenever I'm trying to learn something new, instead of me having the force of trying to figure everything out for myself, I just asked myself, who's done this before? Let's learn from the experts. That's why I created these channels for you guys too, so you can learn from the experts, so you can learn from Tony Robbins and me and Bill Gates and some of the people who might be a little bit ahead on the journey than you are, and learn from them so that you don't have to make all the same mistakes, that you can get there a lot faster, you can shortcut. The best shortcut to success is to model success, right? It's finding the people who've done it, not listening. Too often we listen to the people who haven't done it. Who are you listening to for advice? A lot of us listen to our parents, we listen to our friends, we listen to our family, we listen to our people in our community. Have they done what you want to do? No. So why are you listening to them? In fact, you should probably be doing the exact opposite of what they're doing, right? Find out the books that they're reading and read the opposite books, right? Don't read those books. They're probably not reading a lot of books if they're giving you bad advice. But we too often listen to the people who haven't done the thing that we want to do. And so that's super important, to find the people who have done it, even if it's through a YouTube video like this. I haven't met Bill Gates yet, and yet I learned a lot from him, and it dramatically changed my company. So as I'm looking at sleep, or as I'm looking at diet, or as I'm looking at internet marketing, or as I'm looking at other things that I'm getting into, writing books, creating membership programs, all of this stuff that I'm looking to continue to grow and get better and apply, I've never done a lot of those things before. I don't have the answers, and it could take me a decade of trial and error to figure it out, or I can go find someone who's great at it, learn from them, apply their strategies, and start to win. And so the same thing can happen to you. Whatever problem you're facing right now, somebody's done it, somebody's solved it. Somebody with less resources, less talent, less time, less money than you, they did it. They did it. And so you can either say, well, I'm stuck where I am and there's no path out, or you can say, no, this person with less resources than I have right now, they were able to do it. How? Because you can learn from their success, and you can therefore shortcut yourself and then go teach other people how to do it too. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, question of the day, I wanna know, what was your single biggest learning from this video, and how are you going to apply it to your life or business? When you get motivated and then create a specific follow-through plan, when you talk about when, how, and why you're gonna take action, be specific, put it in your calendar, you have an over 90% chance of following through versus just a 35% chance if you got motivated but never created your plan. So in the comments below, I want you to write down what is the biggest learning, as well as what is your specific plan of action that you're going to take this week to follow through, because when you write it down and you commit to others, you dramatically improve your chances of following through. So let me know down below, because I want to celebrate you. Also, if you want to have more confidence, I've created a free training program. The data says that it takes up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a new habit. So if you want to get more confidence, I'm going to send you a free video to your email every day for 254 days to help you build your confidence, 100% free. The link to join is in the description below.
The fact that human beings, our strongest drive is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. 40% of all jobs they project in the next 10 years are going to disappear because of technology. One of the most important decisions you make in business is, ultimately, if I was going to sell this, if I chose to, I have to know what I sell this to so that I have long-term value.
I think I was in Bogota. I was in Bogota speaking to a church, and I went into the grocery store, and Coca-Cola was there. I don't know why that impressed me so much, but I was like, God damn, Coca-Cola's in Bogota, you know? And then I think I was in Cancun coming on the way back in Mexico, and I was like, oh, Cancun's front and center in the grocery store there. Then I got back to Miami. I was in the movie, and I'm like, Coca-Cola. I'm like, everywhere, dude. They're everywhere. Why am I not everywhere? You know, so all my answers have come to me because I look. It's not really me hearing somebody say something. I'm looking. I'm watching what people do or companies do, not listening to what they do. Because there's a big difference between what people say and what people do. Like Warren Buffett. What Warren Buffett tells people on TV every day and what he does, they're almost like completely different.
If you want to change your life for free in the next 30 days, check out my training right here below. Or if you want another awesome video from Tony Robbins, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.